On the island of Oahu, Hawaii, there's no shortage of stunning mountains, brilliant beaches, and otherworldly sights. For that reason, the island has long been a hotspot for adventurers and vacationers looking for thrills. But not all of the island's beauty lay on its sandy shores and tree-lined peaks. One resident of the tropical island brought his camera with him on countless adventures across the 50th state that he was lucky enough to call home. From underwater dives to mountain hikes, he saw just about everything the diamond-shaped island could offer. But nothing prepared him for what he found in his own backyard. An Imgur user by the name of Maddabber was no stranger to the bizarre and extraordinary. After all, as a resident of Oahu, Hawaii, he had regular contact with a dizzying array of unique flora and fauna, and he never failed to document it all. Sometimes, Maddabber's finds were just plain fascinating. In the autumn of 2016, for instance, he found a giant avocado that could have made enough guacamole to keep a Mexican restaurant running for a week. When he wasn't uncovering massive avocados, Maddabber photographed scenes unlike anywhere else in the world. Whether that included twisting dirt trails that disappeared into lush cliffsides or red rock plateaus peppered with green trees, it all looked like it was ripped from a fantasy world. Indeed, Maddabber's life, judging by his photography, was fantastic. Need any more proof? How about an underwater expedition where he got up close with sea turtles? Okay, you get it, this dude's life was pretty rad. But for all of his adventures, would you believe that one of the most incredible moments took place, not in some exotic locale, but in his own backyard? Compared to the rest of Oahu, Maddabber's garden was lackluster. The main feature was a stone wall strewn with hanging potted plants, pretty, but nothing to write home about. Little did he know that this would actually be the backdrop for a truly stunning moment. A number of creatures enjoyed Maddabber's garden, including his cat, Dionysus, who took the occasional afternoon nap in the beds of fresh catnip. But one of Maddabber's most amazing finds began when he stumbled upon something else. If you can believe it, the discovery, or discoveries, rather, were hiding inside a bamboo shoot. The man could have easily tossed the shoot into a compost pile. But something made him look twice. At first glance, they might have looked like mold or some sort of fungus that spread into the heart of a patch of backyard bamboo. However, Maddabber knew that it required a closer inspection for him to be sure. He scooped a few of the white balls out of the bamboo shoot and let them rest in the palm of his hand. Soon enough, he realized what they were: eggs. Only, what animal could have possibly laid these? Compared to chicken eggs, these were positively puny. Still, they were far too large to belong to an insect. Well, he would have his answer soon. Before long, something incredible started to happen. Right in the palm of his hand, one of the eggs started hatching. Bit by bit, the outer shell fell away, and soon, a creature emerged. He was witnessing the miracle of life, and he hoped whatever it wasn't venomous. Luckily, it wasn't. In a matter of moments, a tiny little lizard emerged from the egg. It crawled to the pad of Maddabber's index finger, taking in the world around it for the first time. Now he just had to identify it. A few things stood out to Maddabber that helped him identify the creature. For one, he noticed the lizard didn't have eyelids. It had to constantly lick its eyes to keep them moist. Maddabber also noticed the adhesive pads on the bottom of its splay-toed feet. While many online users who saw his images called it a baby dragon, the patterns indicated exactly what kind of critter it was. It was a newborn gecko. Whether or not Maddabber saved 15% or more on his car insurance, he definitely experienced something few other people have. Think about it. Plenty of people who visit Oahu swim with turtles, and others hike the hills or the sandy beaches. But how many locals or visitors anywhere, not just Oahu, could claim that a gecko egg hatched in their hand? No matter how many places Maddabber explored, he was ultimately blown away by the miracle of life. But that begged the question, what now? Would he have some paternal bond after watching the lizard enter the world in the palm of his hand? Would he keep the gecko as a pet, as a reminder of what many would see as an exciting moment in his life? Kindly and graciously, Maddabber placed the gecko back where he found the eggs, so the little guy had a chance of making it back to his mama and living a full lizard life. Though it was tough, it was for the best. Bird eggs are common if you live in a place where nests are abundant, but there are tons of other animals, like Maddabber's gecko, that lay eggs too. It doesn't matter whether the offspring inside are slimy, fluffy, or scaly, every egg bears the world's greatest gift, life itself. Some eggs are harder to decipher than others. Scientists discovered many of these corkscrews washed up on shores, which led them to believe they were some kind of plant. But they were wrong. You better believe there's an animal forming inside. When those black corkscrews finally open up, horned sharks emerge. The shape of the egg ensures, when the mother shark is gone, she can tightly screw it into a small crevice and keep it from drifting away. If you happen to be wandering around the swamplands of Florida and come across a nest of these elongated eggs, you'd be wise to turn and bolt in the opposite direction. You don't want to run into the mother. Because inside are baby crocodiles. One of the most fascinating things about the eggs is the gender of the babies is dependent on temperature. Eggs birthed in water under 80 degrees Fahrenheit almost always result in females, above 80 breeds males. This would be quite a vibrant sight to come across in nature, don't you think? Some scientists have referred to these as the fanciest eggs in the wild, but what exactly pops out once they're ready to hatch? Blue chickens? Not exactly. Inside you'll find birds, but they're not chickens. They're called tinamous, and they mostly reside in tropical regions to avoid ever having to migrate. Bird watchers everywhere would have a field day inspecting these fowls. That coin lying next to this batch of eggs is to indicate just how small they are. You might not even see them if you were walking quickly. However, the animals who grow inside end up being large and in charge. They're monitor lizards, the biggest of which is the almighty Komodo dragon. These scaly hissing beasts can grow to 10 feet in length, which is quite impressive considering they start out in eggs smaller than a nickel. You can find bundles of these eggs buried in sandy beach holes hidden from predators. Be careful if you spot some though. You wouldn't want to accidentally disturb them. Once they hatch, the animals inside make a fast break for the tide. The tenacious little creatures that eventually burst through are sea turtles. Even though these animals live in the water, the adults lay their eggs on land and hope as many of their babies as possible make the trek into the ocean. This cluster of spiked spheres looks like they could be underwater mines waiting to detonate at the slightest touch. Rest assured, there's no explosive material inside, but what is inside might irritate your nostrils. They're stink bugs. These smelly and pervasive little insects can be found in most gardens throughout the United States. Due to their foul odor, they have few enemies, so once the warm weather rolls around, don't be surprised if they start making frequent appearances. While we're all taught in school that mammals don't lay eggs, there is one exception. Can you guess what it might be? Here are 2 hints. They come from the land down under, and they've got bills. They're platypuses, of course. There aren't many of them left today, but they're still just as unique looking. They might come from eggs, but they're all mammal once they hatch. At first glance, you look at these and think, these are definitely bird eggs. However, even though they look like what our winged buddies lay, the animals inside actually have no ability to soar through the sky. Inside are a species of marsupial known as echidna. The tiny pink earthworm-like babies that initially hatch grow into small spiked creatures closely resembling porcupines. Unless you're in Africa or parts of Asia, you won't run into an egg that looks like this. That's a good thing, because the animal inside is something you'd never want to encounter. It's one of the deadliest snakes known to man, the cobra. Because they're decked out with venomous fangs, an amazing sense of smell, and night vision, you better be careful if you see those oblong eggs. If you're ever walking through the forest and you come across a pile of these small translucent eggs, the creature that laid them probably isn't far off. So what exactly is it? The answer might make your skin crawl. Those small clear eggs give life to millipedes. It would take nerves of steel to see one of these crawling around your home and not completely freak out. Interestingly, millipedes have been around longer than any reptile, bird, or mammal.